Welcome to Module 2 Perception, Self, and Communication. And so, as you scroll and read, you'll find that this module has to do with perception, perception's identity factors. You'll explain some of the reasons why we perceive the way that we do. We're going to talk about selection, organization, interpretation, and the way that it affects the way we communicate with others. You're going to differentiate among figure and ground, closure, proximity, and similarity. And you are going to identify errors that you might make in perceiving others. You're going to recognize how to the choices that you make affect your perception. And you're going to describe how impression management influences your perception of yourself and others. Now, to have this chapter read from you, you just need to click the little button here and the chapter will read to you.
Page 30.
You can actually speed up the reading if you want it to go faster.
When you have read and thought
And
about this
so
chapter, you will be
it's a
able to
great way
describe what
to
this
have this
section is.
chapter read to you.
Identify factors in the
This is a great way to have the chapter read aloud to you if you don't want to physically read the chapter. So we're defining perception. And we know that differences in perception affect the way we understand ourselves, situations, stories, events, and others. So perception affects the way that we view ourselves and the way that we present ourselves. And in turn, perception acts like a filter that influences our experiences, our assessment of others, and our communication with them. It's unique. We are an individual person, and so our perception is unique to us. And so we have what's called active perception. This is the way that your mind selects things. And we have subjective selection. This is kind of the way you sense things. So it has to do with your inner self and your outer self. And you'll read more about that as you go through the chapter. So we have differences in perception, we have identity factors, and so we know that we're all very different. We're different in terms of our biological makeup. We're different in terms of our gender identity. And we're different in terms of our temporal conditions. So, if we have sicknesses or headaches or whatever's going on in our body, it affects our perception. Our perception is also affected by our past experiences and our roles. So, if we experience something good or bad when we were growing up, it affects the way we see things. Also, our role as a child, as a parent, as a brother, as a policeman or a politician or policewoman, or as a student or teacher, it affects the way we perceive things. Now we have things like our current societal events that affects us too. So whatever's going on in society today, whatever you're bombarded with through the news, it affects your perception. Now, let's look at selection. This is the way we select things that we want to. And we do that through our sight, the sounds, the smells, and our sensations. And we may, let's say, see a car going by and there's something about that car that grabs us. That's because we have chosen to select, our brain, our mind has chosen to select that specific things. So we have selective attention, that's what we pay attention to. And we also have organization. And this is the way we organize things in our mind and the way we perceive things. And we do it through what your textbook calls figure and ground. That is the background and the foreground, closure, proximity, and similarity. So take a look at this image. What do you see? Do you just see two colors, green and white? Do you see a white vase? Do you see two green twin faces? Or do you see nothing? You just see a picture that is green and white. That is the way you perceive things. There's no good or bad, it's just the way that your brain perceives things. Take a look at this sentence. Can you read it? Some of us can and some of us can't. Doesn't mean it's good or bad, but it just means that some of us can read this sentence. Even though the words are mixed up, some folks can read it and some can't. Now, take a look at these lines. This is what's called proximity. What do you see? What was the first thing you saw? Did you see three groups of green lines, which is nine? Did you just see white spaces? Did you see, what did you see? And that is proximity. It's the way you perceive things in terms of proximity. Here is similarity. What do you see here? Did you see the squares? Do you see the circles? Do you see a group of squares and circles? What do you see? Or do you see the color green and white? What do you see first? It's just the way that we see things. Our perception is also um, we also take a look at the way that we perceive things in terms of in groups and out groups. This means that if we're a part of a group of folks that love to watch movies, that's the in group. Those who don't like to watch movies are the out group. So here we are. We love to watch certain movies. Others don't. We think, what's wrong with those people? They don't like to watch movies. Only people that really like to watch movies are really smart people. That's the in group and the out group. And we tend to perceive people and things based on our likes, our dislikes, what our group of friends like, etc., etc. Then we have interpretive perception. And this is where we blend the internal and the external. We have errors in perception, and we can have errors based on the way we stereotype things, and we all stereotype. Some of us have learned to do so less and less. We all have our prejudices, and we may see things, our perceive things based on our prejudices. We also could perceive things based on first impressions. The way we see somebody initially is the way we might perceive that they are, even if they're different, because of the first impression. That's the way we perceive them. Now, we have our own makeup and we have our own personal identity. Some of us are shy, some of us are more outgoing, and it's the way that we perceive ourselves. We may perceive others that way too, based on ourselves, our own uniqueness, our own differences, right? So we have to really consider how we see ourselves and how we see others. Also, think about how you present yourself and how others perceive you. You may think that others perceive you one way when they may perceive you another, or you may present yourself in a way differently than you are. So, in summary, in this chapter, we looked at perception. We looked at differences that occur in our perception and in for many reasons in terms of identity factors, temporal conditions, past experiences, roles, and our present circumstances, as well as our current societal events. We look at things through selection, right? Such as our own internal and external views or stimuli. In some ways, in which we organize our perception is based on figure and ground, which is the background and the foreground, closure, proximity, and similarity. Then we may have perceptual errors based on our own stereotyping, our own prejudices. Then think of the way we perceive ourselves and the way others perceive us. That is a quick lecture on perception. I will see you in the next module. Take care.